Yo, 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 what it is, what it was, what's it gonna be?
Welcome.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Gen Expertise podcast, episode 53, aka season 2, episode 3,
Welcome,
entitled
welcome.
Gen X Does Books. We are your hosts, Main and Rants, aka Mainimus Prime, and Rumblebee. That's because that Transformers is coming out in September, son.
You're gonna, you know what? Speaking of that, are you planning to go see that?
Absolutely, son. Absolutely. One ticket,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. We talked about that before, but I can't. I don't think I can go through that again.
Son.
And that Transformers movie, I don't know. And I feel like a lot of Gen Xers probably feel similar. Because that's when, of course, and I know this is not a spoiler alert for anybody, but when he killed off Optimus Prime, I
Yeah.
felt like that was trauma that we all share as Gen Xers. It's just unnecessary trauma just for the sake of coming out with new toys and new storylines. I feel
Yeah,
like that
we
was
were 10 years
unnecessary,
old. They
and
did
I'm
that to a
still
bunch of
hurt.
10-year-olds.
Yeah, I'm still hurt by that. Yeah, I can't. I definitely can't go see Transformers again.
Son, I got to
I don't
see it
ever
on the
want to see it again.
IMAX. I got to see it on the
Nah, I
IMAX.
can't. I can't. I can't. I can't go through that again.
Well, I'll tell you how fantastic it is, son.
I remember going through that, man, and like I remember thinking like, no way. I was in denial. Like, there's no way they killed Optimus Prime just now. Like, there's no way. And
Yep.
of course the movie's good and the rest of it is good, and Rodimus Prime and all that stuff, the passing of the torch, passing of the matrix of leadership and all that stuff. That's all great.
Mm-hmm.
But the trauma of that, and like later on, I don't know if you used to watch the series, like how much you used to watch the series. I'm sure you did, but there were times where they were bringing Optimus back, right? Like they have found his body in the series, and he
Mm-hmm.
came back, and for a minute he was kind of crazy. He was out of it because he had lost his mind.
Yeah, he was
So
like
he was kind of like
Batman
a
in the what you call it, the Raja Ghul joint. When
yeah,
the
yeah.
and you come out there that little lake and you come out crazy, you come out all bugged
Yeah,
out.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Lazarus pit. Like
The
that's how he
Lazarus
was.
pit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like he came out the Lazarus pit and had lost his mind, and he was kind of like a Trojan horse. He turned on the Autobots at one point because he had just lost it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was so the whole thing was just sad. Like even the process of them bringing him back into the fold was
Yeah,
sad until they kind
it
of
was
had a
like
chance
Pet
to reboot.
Cemetery, but for robots.
Yeah, yeah,
Brought
exactly.
Optimus back and he went on a rampage, son.
Exactly, man.
Mm.
I feel like they fooled us again. Like when they brought him back, and he started shooting at his own people.
Yeah,
So
man.
I don't know,
He
man.
was in that big
Like,
garage up in the sky, chilling, unlimited oil changes, everything, and then they brought him
and
back.
and they also recently they came out with a robot like a automated toy. Like the
Yeah, of
company Robeson makes.
his singed body.
Yeah. So yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
company Robeson, they make transformers that actually transform, right? Like you speak to them, they're voice activated, or you could use like a app to control them and all that stuff, or kind of a remote control situation, or you could talk to them, right? So they came out
Mm-hmm.
with one recently with the Optimus Prime. I guess it's in honor of the movie coming out, or being re-released. He's gray. He's all battle armor damaged and all that stuff, and he has the
Mm-hmm.
matrix of leadership and stuff like that. And I'm like, who would buy this thing? But I guess I'm sure it's sold out though. Like I was thinking to myself at first, like who's gonna buy this thing? It's traumatizing for any
Mm-hmm.
of us that lived through that movie. That's pretty traumatizing, right? But I figure like it's probably sold out. Now that I think about it, it's probably a collectible.
Yeah, they're gone,
Even
bro.
though I wouldn't buy it for 15, it's probably $1,500 or something like that. But
By now, it's
um,
probably like 3 grand
yeah, I'm sure in
as
like the
supplies
secondary
get
market, yeah,
limited.
you probably have to get
Mm-hmm.
it from the secondary market, right? Like so, I wouldn't buy it, but I'm sure it's sold out. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just, I'm just wondering if you're gonna go see it, and apparently you don't have
Yes.
any, your feelings are not hurt enough.
Nah, son.
Let
I
me know
gotta see it.
let me know how you feel when they get to that part
I gotta
again.
see it. I'm a grown man now who's not afraid to cry. No matter what movie it is, I gotta go see it, man. I gotta see it on that IMAX, that big screen with the surround sound and everything. I wonder if they're gonna come out with that GI Joe Cobra line. I wonder when's the 40-year anniversary of that, because that gotta be covered out too, son. They need to start bringing these
Yeah,
retro joints back.
Yeah, that was a good one. I haven't actually seen that in its entirety in a long time either. That was a good one too.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, that's a good one. And I heard that they're coming out with some sort of crossover with GI Joe and Transformers too.
Yeah, that was
So
what that
we'll see.
last movie was about. The last movie with the Autobot, the gorilla and the animals and stuff. The what they call
Yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beast
The Beast, the
Beast Wars
yeah, Beast Wars,
something. Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. I almost said
I
bestiality.
think it's
So
like Rise of the Beast or something like that. I think no, I think Beast Wars was like the series or the toy line too. But I think
uh-huh.
the movie was like Rise of the Beast or something like that, like
Mm-hmm.
Transformers Rise of the Beast, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah.
yeah, somebody correct us and we'll do a fact check for the that one. But
Yeah, man.
um
So there's
yeah,
your
man.
movie nostalgia.
There's some movie nostalgia. It's a nice little tangent for y'all.
Yeah, yeah. Other than that, how's everything going, my man? We got the announcement for those who are just listening. My man grew his beard out, son. He got the real Gen expertise beard growing.
This is the wisdom right here. This is the beard of wisdom, the beard of expertise.
Yeah, son, looking like the old strawberries in the back of the fridge that we talked about a few. The straight gray beard, you know?
Hey
Looking
man,
sharp though. Looking sharp though.
this is experience.
There you go. I can't grow a beard. I can only grow like a goatee, and
Yeah,
then I grow like Rasta man patches on my cheek. That's it. The Caribbean comes out. I can't grow no full beard, son. So I'm hating a little bit.
it's all good. Not everybody could grow this majestic, this mane, mane's mane.
Maine. Maine's majestic chin mane. There you go. There you go, son. You know,
You
the
know we got to
doors
come
of
out with a product. We need a
Oh,
product.
I was just about to say, man,
Maine's mane
Maine's
sounds
majestic mane.
like a lion. It sounds like something that should have a lion on a jar.
Yeah, son.
Some nice beard oil with a lion on it.
Nice
Maine's
beard
mane.
oil, man. It's specifically made for the gray beards, that
Yeah, yeah,
because gray
the
hair's a
Gen
little more
Xers.
coarse. It takes a little more absorption
It's the
for
Gen
gray hairs,
Xers.
man.
Yeah, you need that
You
extra
know?
moisture in it.
That's
Yeah,
right,
definitely.
man.
Maine's mane beard oil. I don't know. We got to work it. We got to work on that.
Coming to a shelf near you. You heard it here
You
first,
heard it here
man.
first.
Heard it here first, man. But other than that, everything's good to go. We got our books again. I guess this will be one of our feature lines now, our Gen X Does books, our series. We did one before way back in the day. So we're going to do
Right.
another one today for you guys. And we picked some books that we've read that we're going to talk about and tell you maybe why we've picked these particular books and give you the Cliff Note versions of these books and let you guys fend for yourself. Hopefully some of the books that we're saying, or a lot of the books that we're saying, you guys are picking up and reading and going to your local bookstores and getting some of this knowledge. So that's what we got going on today. And my man, my Mellow, unless you got anything else to add, what you got up first?
Oh, caught me off guard there. I was
Yeah.
zoning a little bit. Sorry.
Mhm.
So
See, you got
so the-
your interface up now. You doing your Jody LaFord action. You looking on 4 screens at a time, fact checking, spell checking. You doing everything now. There's
yeah, man, it's a lot going on over here.
a lot of
So
production going on behind the scenes.
the production going on nowadays. We're blowing up.
Mm.
So the first book I have, if you can see on the video, and if, for those of you who are not watching the video and only listening to us, is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F.
Beep. Yeah,
Right?
because we do love the kids here still.
Bleep that out. Right? It's a book by Mark Manson, and some of you have heard of it. It's definitely a New York Times bestseller. So a lot of people probably heard of this book. The subtitle of it is A Counterintuitive Approach to Living a Good Life. Right? And one of the things that resonates with me about this book, I read it a while back, but the reason that I enjoyed this book a lot, and the reason why I would kind of recommend it, and the reason I wanted to talk about it a little bit today, is because when you first read the title, right? When I first read the title, I'm like, oh, this is about really not giving a F, right?
Beep.
And I'm like, and I think I was at a time in my life, and probably all at that time, every once in a while, but like at a time where you kind of need to hear that message of, yeah, like don't care so much about things. But I think that the title is a little misleading in a sense where it doesn't literally mean that you should not care about things or you should not give a F. What it really means is that you should try to be more intentional about the things that you do care about. And
There's
so,
that word again.
yeah, intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm injecting that word, but that's what I
Mm-hmm.
get out of it. Well, there's a lot of pressure in today's society to kind of care about everything or to try to focus on things that you think are going to make you happy or changes that you need to make or impact that you could have or even being influential, especially nowadays with like the social media the way it is, where you're seeing highlights of people's lives, you're seeing kind of the best that people have to offer on social media, sometimes the worst that people have to offer, but you're seeing them kind of seeking out some sort of attention, for better or worse, right? Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
positive, sometimes it's negative, but it could lead you into kind of a chasing type of pattern where you're chasing fame, where you're chasing happiness, or you're chasing money. Um, you're chasing things that are really elusive, first of all, and really are not really, may not be exactly what you want. You may think you want those things, but a lot of times, like you're chasing those things because, like I said, society is kind of influencing us to want certain things, even though those are not necessarily the things that are going to be most fulfilling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the author talks about stuff like that we worry about, like what strangers may think of us, right? And these are all the things that I feel like he means when he says the art of not giving a F, right? So he talks about stuff like we worry about the following: what strangers think of us, whether we're as successful as someone else, social media approval, minor inconveniences, being embarrassed, always being right, looking successful, keeping everyone happy, right? And that's what he means when he talks about the subtle art of not giving a F, because he's really talking about like kind of letting go of some of these things that really don't matter, like what people think of you is not really going to help you or hurt you in most instances, right? The idea of chasing money and influence and fame, the ambitions that we have sometimes, some of those things don't matter as much as like stuff like family,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like good health, your own integrity and your own values, kind of maintaining those things, kind of balancing your life and your work. Those things matter a lot more than what some strangers on the internet may think of you, or even having more money than you could spend. So that's why this book actually really resonates with me, man. And it talks about just trying to focus on the things that you should be focusing on, like something like good health is something that you can change too, like because I think that this book crosses over into a little bit of stoicism, right? Like where you change those things that you have control over. If you care too much about these things that you can't control, you wind up in kind of a state where I feel like you're almost paralyzed or frozen because you're worried about things that you don't really have control over. And the idea is really to control the controllable and put your focus on those areas that you can kind of affect change, right? Like when it comes to your health, when it comes to like spending time with loved ones and your family and those that really care about you, those are things that you can actually affect. Put in energy and care in the places where the most value can actually be gotten, right? And so, and real value, not monetary, not popularity, but real value, like the core values, like things that you hold dear when no one's watching, so to speak. Your honesty, your curiosity, your love, stuff like that. Your creativity, kindness, stuff that really means something at the end of the day, right? So that's kind of the first one. We could go into it more, but that's the first one I wanted to talk about.
Yo, you kicked in the door with the 4-4 on this one, yo. he came he came out guns blazing. What year did that book come out? Because I remember being on the
Good question.
train
Let
and
me.
everyone was reading that book.
Yeah, like and you know what's funny about it? Like when I bought the book, I swear, like I didn't really think of it as something that was gonna be as popular as it is. I think I stumbled on it. Like I think I actually stumbled on it probably on social media or something, right? And I'm like, oh, there's a catchy, there's a catchy title. And then, like you said, I started to notice that people were reading it all over the place, right? Like I would actually see people out in the wild, so to speak, reading it.
Yeah,
I'm looking
everybody
it
was
up
on the
now.
train reading
I'm
that
trying to,
book, man.
I'm looking up what year this came out.
It had to be like the 20, maybe it's the 20 teens.
So it was 2015. It was
Yeah,
actually, it was published in 2016, but apparently Mark Manson, the author, he had a blog, that got pretty popular over the years, before he wrote the book. So he had published a blog of the same name, and the book got published in 2016.
Wow. Yeah, that's 10 years ago. Yeah, that joint, I can't even imagine how many copies of that he sold around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never bought the book. I saw it so much I never even wanted it. But I know a lot of people.
You
I
thought,
know a lot of
what did
people
you
have
think? You thought it was just like a fad? It's like too many people reading,
I thought
this book.
yeah,
It can't be that good.
yeah, I thought it was like, remember those Dutch books? Remember when it was like urban um detective novels? We were calling it like subway literature at one point. So you would just see everyone reading this specific book. And when I saw that, I was like, yo, this has to be like one of those gimmicky books. But I'm talking about months and months went by when
Yeah.
I just saw people reading these books and looking at these books. I just got tired of seeing it, to be honest. But we like to say on here, and we frequently talk about how the pitfalls of social media, and how like you can use it for good, but mostly it's being used for evil. Social media is like real people doing fake stuff, but now it's even turning into like fake people doing real and fake stuff. You know, so we starting to lose focus on what matters the most, and I feel like that book is probably telling you like just to like throw everything else that doesn't matter by the wayside and really hone in and focus on what's important to you, to your personal mission, your personal goal. Maybe one day I will read it.
No, I definitely think you would get a lot out of it, Rance, because of the fact that I think some of the things, I want to say this, like the reason that the book resonated with me, I think, is because I was already thinking a lot of the things that I got from the book. You know how sometimes you need to hear what you already think
Yeah,
confirmed in someone else's voice, if that makes sense sometimes. And
yeah,
it kind of solidifies it for you. Like, cause you know, you don't want sometimes we get caught up in the bias of our own, like, you know, our own familiar thoughts, so to speak, right? Like, so you might think you're right about something, or you may get a hunch or a feeling about something that you're kind of going with it because it's how you feel already in your gut and you trust in yourself. But sometimes when you hear that same thought kind of articulated in a different way, right, or put to you with a lot of data behind it, or a lot of information behind it, or a lot of examples, it kind of solidifies something that you already kind of had a gut feeling, but you weren't able to articulate it in the same way. It's probably not their intention, but sometimes I run into books that are kind of repeating things that I had a hunch about, or that I thought about before, or that I truly believed, but I just figured, you know, this is just something I'm living by, and I'm not going to ever push this on anybody else. I'm not going to force this on anybody. And I may not even mention it except for those that are closest to me. Like, especially in this day and age of like social media, like you said, there's real people on on the internet doing a lot of fake stuff for attention, and now you got, with the advent of AI, you have fake people doing fake stuff for
yeah.
attention. You know,
Looking
it's all
real.
about, you know, yeah, attention is kind of the new currency, right?
I never thought to say it like that. Attention is the
Yeah,
new currency. That's a
yeah,
bar.
absolutely.
That's a bar.
Well,
That's a
I'm
bar,
sure, I
son.
don't know, you know, I don't know where I've heard that before. I definitely didn't make that up, but
Hmm.
but yeah, like it's definitely something I've heard before, right? But yeah, attention is the new currency for sure, man. And we know that to be the case because you got people making money off of content creation. Like you said, people are doing kind of going out of their way to do more and more outrageous things just to get more views and clicks, even if it's controversial or even if it's things they don't actually believe. They're doing it for the sake of like gaining more influence, getting more attention, even accumulating more money as a result, right? So with those things as motivators, like I would think if you would find it hard to be happy because you can't exactly be yourself after a while if that's your motivation. You're going to be forced to kind of carry that on or lose those trappings that you're kind of performing for. That's the takeaway for me about the subtle art of not giving a F. But there's so many circumstances that you should kind of let go of, and really, really focus on those things that are going to matter in the long run, and those things that kind of align with your core values, not just some temporary satisfaction.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Art of Not Giving a Bleep, Maine's first entry to the Gen X on books. Yeah.
Yep.
My first one is, hold on, let me get it ready for you. Oh, you think that Main and Ranch don't read the
Oh, that
classics?
was a good one.
You think that Main and
I
Ranch
love
don't read
that
the
book.
classics, son?
I love that.
Got a little
It's been a
Hemingway
long
there.
time. Yeah,
Yes.
it's been a long time since I've read that, man. Like
The old man in
you
the
always bring
sea.
the good fiction.
Oh, son, you know that's my joint. Fiction is my
Yeah,
bag,
yeah,
son.
you always bring that good fiction, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hemingway, the old man in the sea. I read that a while back too.
Classic. It was made in it was written in 1954, I believe.
Yeah, I want
I
to
think I
hear what
remember
you
I
think.
said.
Yeah, I want to hear
Yeah.
your thoughts on this.
So basically, The Old Man in the Sea is about a man named Santiago, and he's a fisherman by trade, and he goes 84 days with no fish, bro. 84 days he goes with no fish, no catches. The sea is dry. It's dry for him. The water is dry for him, yo. It's nothing. And then on that 85th day, he decides to go out to the Gulf to try to land like basically like his last big catch if he can catch it. And he ends up actually on the 85th day catching a marlin. And if anybody knows what a marlin is a massive fish, man. Marlins
Yeah,
are massive, and he's in like this little rowboat.
right.
He's in like this little rowboat, and he battles with this thing for 3 days. He's exhausted. He has cuts all over his hand. He's beat up. He's
Yeah,
battered. He's bruised, and he finally like harpoons it. Finally harpoons this marlin after battling with the elements and nature and everything over 3 days, and he gets it and he puts it up on his boat. He ties it. He can't put it in the boat, but he puts it like on the outside. He ties it up on the outside of the boat, and he's bringing it back to his little town. And while he's bringing it back, the sharks, because it's harpoon and it's bloody, and the sharks are coming. Now he's fighting the sharks for this catch, for this marlin, trying to bring any little bit back that he can. And by the time he brings it back to shore, there's nothing left but like the head and the skeleton, because the sharks ate it all, and there was basically nothing left. So the whole book is about focusing on the journey. He learned a lot about himself, about what he's willing to do, that he can't be conquered. He learned about nature. He started to look at nature differently and looking at the animals and the birds and the fish. All on here, it's like this life-changing experience that this old man has on the sea. And then he comes back, and you're thinking like he's gonna come back and with nothing and everybody's gonna laugh at him, but he actually got to bring something back. So you got to see just how big of a marlin that he did catch. And even though there was really like nothing left, they
yeah,
appreciated him still for what he did, because the evidence was there too. And then I had to write this down. So one of my favorite quotes from the book, and it says, the old man, as he's battling, he says, but man is not made for defeat. A man can be destroyed but not defeated.
yeah,
And that's one of my favorite quotes, and that's in the book. And it's all about focusing on the journey. Like you
yeah.
may lose, but you may win at the same time, if that makes any sense. I guess that goes along the lines of like you lost the battle but you win the war type thing. You hear people always say that. You
Yeah,
know? And it's
that book I read that a while ago too, man. And not to cut you, but like just real quick before I forget,
yeah, go ahead.
but when I remember reading the book years ago, and I remember kind of it's one of those things where it had the effect that you described a while back, where maybe a couple of episodes ago, you used to always talk about, how you like fiction that you can picture in your mind, right? Like a very vivid description of things. And that's one of the things that Hemingway does with this book. Like he describes very vividly, you could almost feel the water spraying on you, like
Yes.
as this old man is battling the marlin, like you said, as you could almost feel like the fishing line cutting into his hands, like his, you see his gnarled old hands,
Yeah.
and this fishing line is cutting into this man's hands, like, because he's trying so hard at first to hold on to
He's
this
sun
marlin, because it's,
battered.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
man.
is so battered. Like he hasn't eaten, he hasn't drank anything for a while, and in some parts of the book it shows that he's like he's
He's
basically
emaciated.
like he's basically dying to hold on to this marlin, right? Like he can't focus on anything else for a little while, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really felt it, like, what that book reminds me of? It reminds me of the feeling that I had when, and this is a tangent, but when I watched Castaway, right? So
Ah,
the movie
great movie.
Castaway with Tom Hanks, right? And there's a little segue, and I'll get back to the point. But like when I watched Castaway, right? When he first gets into the accident on the plane, he falls into the water and all that stuff, and he winds up like floating for a while. I remember feeling very thirsty while watching that, right? Like, and I realized that it was like this deep, like, empathy for the character. I just kind of pictured myself, like, what would I be like if I'm laying on, like, trying to float, through the sea. I can't drink
Mm-hmm.
any of the water around me because it's all seawater, and I'm just like kind of holding on for my life, right? And the book gave me that same type of kind of angst. I felt like I was in that man's place at points in the book,
Yeah.
where that's how vividly everything is written. Um, I felt that deep empathy, like that almost like hunger and thirst and like hurt in my hand,
Yeah,
like
man.
from that fishing line.
That little raggedy boat, he was on like a little raggedy
Yeah,
boat
like
too.
he was on a raggedy boat, and he's desperate, like you said, for a catch, because he hasn't, like you said, the fishing's been dry for so many days that's part of his desperation, just to just hold on to this catch that he's finally gotten, and then the fact that the sharks kind of tore it up, but it's like you said, it's kind of like a triumph out of tragedy, and it feels like a lot of us have experienced something, not that exactly, but the idea of making triumph out of tragedy is something that I feel like we could all kind of resonate with. Even if you're not a winner in the traditional sense, like you didn't get that final physical, tangible prize,
Yeah.
you learn something about yourself through the journey and through the struggle. That's the prize, right? Like the thing that you
Mm-hmm.
learned about your strength and your resilience and your determination means that you're unbreakable. You're ready for the next struggle because you survived this one. So yeah, that's a good one, man. Because I remember reading that and feeling like, just feeling for the character in the book, the old man,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of just resonating with it because I felt something about myself.
Yeah,
Um,
it gives you a very introspective view. It's almost like those what do they call them? Those 4K movies now, where the seats shake and they spray mist in
yeah,
your
yeah,
face,
the
and
40, the 40, the 40X.
the 4DX. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Hemingway puts you in that boat. He puts you in that boat with this man. Like you can
Right.
see his hands. He probably has like arthritic hands, and his knuckles joints are all
Yeah.
bending over. You can like see him all small and
That's
emaciated.
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just feel it. That's why Hemingway is such a great author. At first, when I remember the very first time I read it, I was like, "Yo, he's bugging all the way out, son. 84 days? You need to go get a bow and arrow or something. You need to go into the woods. You and now
You
you're
need to
gonna go,
bring more people. Bring like a younger fisherman with him to
yeah,
help
with
him.
some nets."
And.
And then he has the young boy with him, and he teaches the young boy a valuable lesson. I forget the kid's name now. It starts with an M. I wouldn't say Manolo, but that's Scarface.
Manolo.
That's, that,
I don't think it
but
was Manolo.
yeah, but the boy, like, really, when he comes back, the boy is like, "Yo, next time I'm gonna go fishing with you. Everybody thought you was a fool, but next time I'm gonna go fishing with you." And he taught the next generation a lesson in honor, courage, and resolve and perseverance. And it's like, how will you be remembered? It doesn't matter that he came back with nothing. It matters that this man, this old man, went out to the Gulf, the deepest part, stayed out there and fought, caught a marlin, and then fought sharks on his way back, and he came back in one piece with a story to tell. Now, if you're on the shore, if you're the fisherman that quit and you're younger, you're 10, 20, 15 years younger than the dude, how does that make you feel? That's like in Troy, when Brad Pitt told the kid, and that's why no one will remember your name.
Yeah.
It's like, this dude is always
Classic
going to
line.
be, yeah, you're always going to be, everybody from that little fishing village or whatever is always going to be measured up against this old man right now who ventured out when went where nobody would dare and did what everybody had given up on and then came back victorious. I think it was a movie too. Was Anthony Quinn in it? Old Man in the Sea. I think it was a movie, a made-for-TV
Maybe.
movie with Anthony Quinn, I believe, but I never saw it. But that's one of my favorite books. You know, Main and Ranch does the classics as well, bro.
No, that's a good one. I wouldn't have. So some of those classics that we've read, I've forgotten them over the years,
Yeah.
and not forgotten them completely, but just they haven't really crossed my mind, I should say, because like we were talking about before, I really kind of like have shied away from a lot of fiction books. I've tried to read some recently, but I find myself like stuck on nonfiction. But some of these books are classics, and they do teach lessons, right? So Old Man in the Sea is one of those fiction books that, like I said, it gives you a lesson about life, right? Like, it may be
Yeah.
fiction, but the lesson is real. Like, the humanity in it is real, right? Like, Hemingway does a great job of kind of revealing ourselves through this old man, this character, and his interaction with his work, with his duty, with his adventure, with his resilience and his determination. It is like almost like watching a movie, like you were saying. It's one of those books that you feel like you've watched a movie after you've finished it. You know, that's how vivid and kind of visual it is in the writing
Yeah.
that Hemingway does. So
And it's a quick
yeah,
read
that's
too. Like, you can
definitely a
read
good
the
one.
book in like a day or two if you want, and you get so immersed in it
Yeah,
because it's thin.
it's a quick
Yeah.
read.
Mhm.
Yeah, I must have read that in like, it must have taken me like 2 days to read. And
Yeah, man.
like I have mixed feelings about that too, because sometimes books are so good that I fly through them and I kind of forget like some fine details in them that way. But there are some books that I've read that are that good that I've read them in a day. Like, I think I read Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. I read that, and it's an honorable mention, I guess, because it's not one of the books that I'm meant to talk about. But I'm just mentioning that because that's a book that I literally read that in a whole day, right? Like, I think I started in the morning, and I couldn't put it down. The problem with that is that you go through it so fast, you may not pick up all the fine detail all the time because you're going through it too fast. But the good part about it is that it was so immersive that I couldn't stop reading, you know? So yeah, that's a real good one, man.
Yeah. So that's my first one. Old Man in the Sea, Hemingway.
So the second one that I wanted to talk about, and it's because you actually recommended this book to me a while back. The miners that mine cobalt in the Democratic Republic of Congo, right? And I'm surprised at how many people, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, right? But I'm surprised at how many people don't know this about the Democratic Republic of Congo. But that region is responsible for a little, give or take 70% of the world's cobalt, right? And cobalt, for those that don't know, cobalt is a mineral that's used to stabilize the lithium batteries that are used in a lot of our electronics, including EVs, like our electric vehicles, our phones, you name it, like anything that pretty much uses a lithium battery. Cobalt is used there to stabilize it. Like, cobalt and nickel make for good stabilizers for these batteries. And when I say stabilizers, they keep the batteries from actually exploding. Like, literally, they're good conductors of heat so that those batteries don't explode, right? Like, because I know that a lot of us could probably remember a time where you couldn't bring
Samsung
any.
joint.
Yeah, you couldn't bring anything with a lithium battery on a plane at one point,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like so, because lithium batteries were dangerous and they were known to sometimes overheat and explode if you didn't shut down your devices properly, and if you were storing them a certain way, you could have a situation where a lithium battery explodes. And I'm sure there's like minor cases, or I should say, like a few cases where lithium batteries may still explode,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, stuff like cobalt is responsible for making sure that those batteries are stable enough to store and to run long term. A lot of people don't pay attention to it, and including myself. Like I don't mean to say a lot of people as if I'm pointing a finger or kind of accusing people of not caring about things that they should care about, because this feels like one of those things where you don't really think much about the total supply chain of where things come from. When you're eating an apple, you don't go in your mind and be like, oh, I wonder where what the people were like that picked this apple for me and
Yeah.
what's the journey that this apple took to get to my house, while you as you're grocery shopping. You're not exactly thinking about the total journey and the full supply chain of everything that you're buying, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
the same is true with technology, and especially technology that we don't exactly understand how our phone works. We don't exactly understand how the electric vehicle works, and we don't, for the most part, we don't need to, right? Somebody else is taking care of that for us, and that's good enough for us a lot of times. The phone gets to us, it does everything we need it to do. It's like a tiny computer, and as long as it works, we don't really have to give a lot of thought to why it works or who built this for us, who constructed it, where the parts came from. And the same would go for our electric vehicles. We don't give a lot of thought to where this comes from, who built
Mm-hmm.
it, where the parts come from, if there are minerals that are mined in an ethical way, and and that go into this, right? So, but the real thing I'm trying to get to is that the book is called Cobalt Red, and it's by Siddharth Kara. Siddharth Kara actually winds up traveling out to this region of Africa in the Congo, and he does kind of a like an investigative reporting type of thing, where he does his research. He goes around, he has people kind of tour him around the area, and to his peril, because
Yeah, this
this
is
is not like a
dangerous investigative
yeah.
reporting that he did.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is not
Mm-hmm.
like a tourist type of thing, right? Like this is dangerous investigative reporting, exactly like you said. This is not somebody just skylarking as a reporter, just hanging out with these miners, right? Because the idea is that most companies that make anything that uses a lithium battery, and I'll use, like, I'm not going to use any names. Like, you know what? I won't
Yeah,
use any
we're
names,
not
but
saying any names up
well,
here.
we're not going to say any names of companies, but you can guess, like, companies that make cell phones or companies that might make electric vehicles are using lithium batteries, and those lithium batteries are using either cobalt, or in some cases they're using nickel. So these companies have kind of a plausible deniability because they actually don't own any of the cobalt mines that are mining the cobalt, first of all, and they can claim that they don't exactly know where the cobalt is coming from, except for that they're getting them from legitimate sources and legitimate companies around the world, right? Like, so China is one of the major owners of these
The
mines in the Congo,
mines.
by the way, like in the teens. I forget the exact number, but it's something in the teens. Like, if there's 20 of them, China owns like
I
14
think
or
they
15 of
have
them.
15 to 16, I remember by the book. I'm not sure, but it's in the high
Something
teens.
like
They
that.
have the majority of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be off by one or two, but we're close, right? And so if there's 20 mines total, they own like maybe 16 of them, right? 15 or 16 of them. So that's a lot, right? And so they would kind of take on the accountability of making sure that the sourcing of the cobalt is legitimate. But the author Siddharth Kara, in his investigation, and what he's finding out is that a lot of the mining that goes on is not through these legitimate mines. It's from mines that are actually considered unsafe or defunct, right? Like, mines that should have been shut down or have been shut down are still being mined by what are called artisanal miners. And in this case, the word artisanal makes it sound like, very harmless, right? Artisanal, when you think of artisanal, you think of like craftsmanship of some sort, right? Like, or somebody
Like
making like
the finest
sourdough.
olive oil,
the finest olive oil or chocolate, like somebody's a chocolatier
yeah.
or they're making like the finest sourdough bread or something, right? But these artisanal miners are actually miners that are kind of off the books, not kind of, but they're mining without the backing of the official kind of government bodies or the official companies, right? But they're selling the cobalt that they mine in these illegal mines. They're selling it on the black market. Those pieces of cobalt that wind up going through the black market actually do wind up with the legitimate mining companies eventually, and they wind up in your cell phone. And that cobalt winds up in your devices. It winds up in your EV, your electric vehicles, right? So the thing is, the reason why this is so tragic is because those miners are doing this at their peril. Like, this isn't like a regular like 9-to-5 job. This is a very extremely dangerous thing where a lot of times they're going into mines that have been considered hazardous or shut down for whatever reason. They're not making a whole lot of money, and when I say a whole lot of money, they're making like pennies sometimes. They're making like $1 a day sometimes to do this very dangerous mining. And we're talking about men, women, and children doing this. We're talking about
Children skipping
going in.
school,
We're
whole
talking about
families.
whole
Yeah.
families having to do this for like $1 or $2 per day, and they have to get pounds. I forget what. Do you remember like the exact number like
No,
that they're
I can't
taking out?
remember the exact number because it's been a while since I read it, but it was like
But they're taking out bags and bags of this stuff, and bringing it to these black market kind of shops
and getting
that will
peanuts.
take this stuff, and they're getting basically $2 a day for each person, right? They're waking up at the crack of dawn, they're working themselves to the bone all day, and they're mining for like these rocks that may have a little bit of cobalt in them, and they may get a dollar or two per day for this, right?
In
And we're talking about
mines that collapse as well. Do you know what I
yeah, the
mean?
mines collapse. So when you think of a mine, don't think of it as like, on TV, like dudes with lights on their helmet and, like the coal on their face and boots. And we're talking about people also, Siddharth describes these people as not having any protective gear either, right? So we're talking about people that might be in like flip-flops and shorts and ripped t-shirts, nothing, going down into mines that are holes in the ground. Mines that might, like you said, they might collapse on them. They might die in them, or they might be trapped in there for God knows how long, right? We're talking about conditions where the places where they're mining, not only do these places have cobalt, but they have other things. Some of these mines are very rich in uranium, which is going to be toxic to these people's radioactive material that's going to be toxic to people, causing them to be sick, right? And if you're doing this all day, even breathing in some of the stuff that you're breathing in when you're doing this mining, we're talking about men, women, and children doing this, putting themselves in danger of disease, putting themselves in danger of like, physical harm all day long, every day for $2 a day. So the reason I'm saying this is that I feel like people should read this book, Cobalt Red, because just to get some awareness of where the supply chain that gives you your cell phone, right? The supply chain that gives you your tablet, the supply chain that gives you your electric vehicle is extremely important. Somebody might be listening to this and saying, well, what are we supposed to do? Not use a cell phone, like not use our computer, not use a tablet, not drive EVs, but I'm not saying that, right? Because that would be unrealistic. But I'm saying that there are small things you could do. You could kind of like maybe curb when you replace your phone. Like, so something small I think people could start doing is like, instead of, the latest phone comes out every year, think to yourself, do I really need the latest phone? Like, why do I need to upgrade to the, whatever it is, however many teens that we're getting with some of these phones? Does my phone work fine? Is it, maybe it's a little slow. Maybe there's some things I could do to speed it up. Maybe there's some little things I could do to speed up the charging, whatever the case may be, right? But I just want people to give a second thought sometimes to like, okay, if do I really need to replace my device, right? That's just one small thing that I would suggest. But maybe if enough people start thinking like this, maybe they don't need to keep producing them at the rate that they are, right? You're also denying them healthcare, education. You're denying them
proper equipment.
even just proper equipment, protective gear, um, you're you're lying and denying that they exist, right? That's kind of the bottom line here. I think that more awareness needs to be spread about this. Like let's look a little closer at this. Why aren't these people being provided protective gear at least? Why are we denying that this artisanal mining business actually exists? Why are we saying that all of the sourcing of these minerals is legitimate, man? You know, back in the days, they used to talk about blood diamonds, right?
Yeah,
You
that's what I
know,
think of. I
there was
think
this
of the
thing
blood
about,
diamonds when I think of the Cobalt Red. Hmm.
yeah, it's the same. It's basically it's the same thing, man. Just a different mineral, right? Like just a different
Yeah,
rock, right? But when you think about the legitimacy of these things, like I feel like, you know, the best thing that we could do is kind of spread the word. And again, like the book is called Cobalt Red. And you know, I could go on about this, but we you know we only have limited time, and sometimes like the point is for us to touch on some of these things, not to kind of give you the full picture of it and not to read you this whole book over this podcast, but I just want to plant the seed that you should, if you're concerned at all about the sourcing of some of the things that we have and the treatment of people that are providing you with some of these things, Cobalt Red is a good book to get started with in terms of get you aware. When companies are making billions and billions of dollars, maybe they can chip in a little bit to make sure that the people that are this work, this dangerous work, are um, at least get some sort of help and some relief.
yeah. Well, just be informed as well. You make decisions off
Yeah,
information. So if you're not informed, you can't make a decision. Um, the one of the
right.
things when I read this book, it's a crazy conflict because even the man who wrote the book, who did all this investigative reporting that was bringing attention to it, uses a cell
Yeah,
phone, uses a laptop,
right.
uses the same thing. So it's a weird, yeah, it's very weird, and it's a certain like internal conflict that you have, knowing that people are out there suffering for something that you literally are using every day, and you probably can't and don't want to give up. So but the one thing that can be possibly done is regulations. Like if you can we can at least try to make a big enough stink about it that there are some type of regulations so these children don't have to drop out of school, they pay them better. So Cobalt Red, Maine's second book.
Not to be morbid, but you know,
Check that out. So my next book that I have, I got another classic, son. Got that Animal Farm.
woo, nice one.
Sticking with the theme
Yeah,
here.
that's a good one.
Got that George Orwell Animal Farm, written in 1945. I actually read Animal Farm in elementary school.
Did you? That's a deep one
Yo,
for an elementary school
I
kid.
know I read Animal Farm. I think it was seventh grade. I think it was our seventh grade.
Mm.
No, it was our eighth grade teacher had us read this book, and we had like real discussions about it. Um, so for those of you who don't know, Animal Farm is a very, very, very popular book written by George Orwell, a very popular author. The gist of it is that there's a Farmer Jones, I believe his name is Farmer Jones. He's working the animals, the livestock, and everybody too hard. He's killing the animals, and they're like, we're not going to take this anymore. They want to rise up and they revolt. And they actually win. They drive the farmer off of his own farm, and then they take over. And I believe it's two pigs that are in charge, Snowball and Napoleon. And then there was like
Yeah.
this old major, this boy that helped like with the revolt. But it was Snowball and Napoleon that took over, and they renamed the farm Animal Farm. So they came up with these 7 commandments, and the 7 commandments are: whatever goes on 2 legs is the enemy. Whatever goes on 4 legs and has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. No animal shall kill any other animal, and all animals are equal. So they came up with these commandments that they were going to live by on the farm now that they got rid of the farmer, the human, and the animals are running the farm now. And it goes back to me saying everybody wants to be the hammer, but nobody wants to be the nail. And as soon
Yeah.
as the nail gets the opportunity to be the hammer, they turn into the hammer. So that's basically what this book is about. What happens is the pigs start taking over. And then the pigs start creating their own type of commandment where it was whatever goes on two legs is the enemy and whatever goes on four legs and has wings is a friend. That turned to four legs are good but two legs are better because the pigs started walking on two feet.
Yeah.
And Napoleon took over. Napoleon staged
I forgot
a
about all
coup. I
this
forgot
too.
about that. Napoleon staged a coup against Snowball. Had Snowball run off the farm with the help of these like loyal dogs that he had. And then he proceeded to take over the farm and administer all these rules. And so where you have no animal shall wear clothes, the pigs started wearing clothes. No animal shall sleep in the bed. Then it went to no animal shall sleep in the bed with sheets. So the pigs started to go into the farmhouse and started sleeping in the bed that the humans were sleeping on. No alcohol, should not drink alcohol. Then it went to no animal shall drink alcohol in excess because the pigs were trading with the humans. They started to trade with the humans for alcohol and get paid in alcohol, and they were having parties in the farmer's house and drinking and getting drunk, sleeping in his bed. No animal shall kill another animal. Went to no animal shall kill without cause, and all animals are equal. But it said all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Mm.
So they kind of bent the rules a bit. When they became the hammer, they bent the rules. And they even had a horse named Boxer, which was the horse, the loyal horse. He only had two codes. I can work harder and Napoleon's always right.
Mm.
And you know what he got for his hard labor when he
I don't
I
even
think
remember that.
my man sent him to the glue house, son.
Mm.
So they used him. They used him to build and to do all of these things. They used this horse until he couldn't carry or push anymore. And then they sent him out to pasture. They sent him to the glue house. So, yeah, Animal Farm. I read this at 12 years old. So,
Yeah,
and then it got,
it's been
it's
a while since
crazy,
I read
right?
that one. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. At the end, towards the end of the book, you can't tell who the pigs and who the humans. Because the pigs start trading and selling with the humans. The humans come over to the house. They're like having parties together. And as the animals from the outside look in, they can't tell which. They said the pigs started looking more human and the humans started looking more like pigs. And they couldn't tell which was which. So Animal Farm, man.
Hmm. That's an
Yeah.
interesting one because it's one of those books like you and I talked about 1984
Yeah.
several episodes ago, right? And it's one of those books that when you read the book close enough, it's always relevant. I
Mhm.
feel like no matter what time period you're in, you could kind of draw parallels to what's happening in your particular time, right? Like there'll be some government or some kind of corporation or somebody in control that's exhibiting the qualities of this type of like conflict and hypocrisy that you see in a book like Animal Farm, like where it starts out with maybe good intentions,
Mhm.
um, and it ends up where, like you said, like the nail becoming just another hammer, right?
Mhm.
Once people get a chance to have some control, they start to abuse it, right? And
Yeah.
they become what they were fighting against in the
Yeah.
first place,
One of those
right?
things is
So
like, do you really despise power or do you just despise the fact that you don't have the power?
yeah, and that's a question that comes up a lot
Mhm.
with any group that would consider themselves like kind of under the boot of power. you
Mhm.
know that comes up quite a bit, that theme of like, are you looking to be free or are you just looking to be the one that holds the control over others,
Mhm.
right? Are you, if you feel like you're oppressed, are you trying to break your own oppression, or are you just trying to become the oppressor? What does it mean to actually be free? So yeah, I feel like that book is always it's one of those books that's always relevant, unfortunately, too, right? Because um I don't say that with any type of like joy or or feeling like, oh, I'm so profound for thinking that, but I feel
Yeah.
like almost regretful and sad that books like that, like Animal Farm in 1984, are always relevant. They're always timely. Um, they're always in alignment somehow with
Mm-hmm.
something that we need to be thinking about and contemplating on a regular basis. Something that we need to be considering and examining about ourselves and about our society, about our own government, about our own power structures, um, about our own groups that we may be part of, places that we work, and we're all in danger. I think sometimes of becoming what we actually are against,
Mm-hmm.
once we have the opportunity to kind of be on the other side of things, right?
Absolute power
So that's a good
corrupts
one, man.
absolutely,
That's
right?
the classic. There's actually, and yeah, absolutely. So and there's a I think the movie has come out, right? Like there's an
Yeah.
Animal Farm movie, if I'm not mistaken, that came out
Mm-hmm.
this year. So that's another that's
Oh,
relevant.
it
I'm
came out
almost
this
like
year?
I think so. I think it came out this
Oh,
year. At
gotta
least
check it
I've
out.
been, I've seen
Mm-hmm.
it on some of those bootleg movie sites
Mm-hmm.
where movies come out, even though they should be still in the theater. But
Mm-hmm.
that's another story. I'm like, wow, how did Orwell predict that we'd still be going through this type of we still be have to have it at least to observe this
Yeah.
type of conflict and this type of hypocrisy going on, and the same as we you see in Animal Farm. So, but yeah, definitely a classic book. Yeah, that's another one I highly recommend. I need to reread it and probably watch the movie eventually too. So yeah, for the last book, I want to show this on screen. I don't know for those of you who can't see it, um, or just listening to us, can you see this?
I see AI.
All right, that's fair enough. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll read the rest for those of you who may not even be watching us on the video when it comes out. It's called AI: Unexplainable, Unpredictable, Uncontrollable. And it's by Roman V. Yampolsky, PhD. Um, Again, the title is Unexplainable, Unpredictable, Uncontrollable. And it's about artificial intelligence. And I think, this has come up a couple of times, right? Because I'm particularly concerned with this. I've recently had a conversation with somebody who considers themselves what they call a quote unquote doomer about artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That are kind of doom and gloom about their outlook on what's happening with artificial intelligence, right? And the doomers tend to be those people that feel like artificial intelligence may usher in some sort of kind of negative impacts, to put it mildly, right? Like some people think of extremes like, AI may mean the end of humanity as we know it, the end of the world as we know it. Some people think that it's just gonna take up a lot of jobs like knowledge work. Some people even think that it's going to eventually creep into not only knowledge work and white collar work, but also what things that we consider blue collar jobs and physical work. Once things like robotics are perfected, right? You potentially have something now that can work on behalf of a human. Like I said, not only with knowledge work, but with physical work, physical labor, maintenance could be done with something that does not need to sleep, right? So you have potentially a humanoid robot that could work 24/7, or
For free.
as long as it could be, yeah, exactly. So for the price of maintenance and the price of the creation of it, these things could work for free. And eventually, if they're tied to an artificial intelligence network, they're learning all at the same time. Right? Like you have something called a singularity, where just like how the internet is kind of, and this is arguable, right? Like I'm not explaining this in a totally comprehensive way, but in the same way, like the internet is, it provides us like one network with the ability for us to go to most websites that are available on the net. There's a similar concept that people predict will happen with artificial intelligence, where everything that's connected to an artificial intelligence network will know what every other thing on the network knows, right? So the ability to learn at kind of literally the speed of light is going to be something that people have predicted that will make it so not only will humanoid robots be capable of doing their job, but as they learn, every object will learn. Every humanoid would be potentially able to learn the thing that the one knows. So once one knows it, all of it, or the whole network knows it. And that's one of the fears, right? Like, the ability to spread information is like kind of one of our first technologies, right? First, language, people may not consider these things technology, but they're definitely technology that helped us to spread information. Like language is sort of our first technology, the ability to speak to each other and to exchange information and to even exchange information in an abstract way. We have the ability to say to people, hey, watch out. You might be in danger from this particular thing, or we have the ability to make a deal about abstract concepts. Humans are unique in that ability. I can say to you, hey, if you do this work for me today, I'll pay you next week. Or if you lend me some goods today, I'll pay you tomorrow. Right. So we have the ability to think in kind of abstract concepts and convey that information. And then another piece of technology we had is the ability to develop this, not only the spoken word, but the written word was another piece of technology that we had that was extremely useful in spreading information. Then eventually the printing press, which made that mass producible, right? Like where not only can I write information and send it to you without having to speak to you directly, but with the printing press, now I can print whole books with the information that I have and spread that, infinitely throughout the world, and if given enough time and enough resources. Then, of course, you get into more technology like computers and the ability to type and print and use more advanced technologies to spread information, right? Like even all the way to like now where we're able to communicate with each other over video, with a phone in our hands or with our laptops or with a computer or whatever the case may be, right?
Mhm.
So when you think about it, like, the danger or one of the challenges that a doomer thinks that AI might have is that ability to transfer information is no longer unique to humans. It would be something that an artificial intelligence would eventually be able to do without our input or without our knowledge or or anything, right? Without our influence. Once artificial intelligence learns something, it would be able to quickly transfer that information to every other object that's on a network. I'm sure like a lot of people are familiar by now with ChatGPT and even Claude by Anthropic or Gemini with Google. You're kind of used to chatting with these things by now. Even though it's only been a couple of years, a lot of us have at least had the experience of typing in a question and getting a response quickly from an artificial intelligence chatbot. Right? But the idea that the unexplainable portion of this is that a lot of times, like, there's complex math that's going into these prediction engines that are basically trying to predict what you mean or what you intend with the next word in a sentence. They're trying to predict what the appropriate response would be. They're predicting what words kind of go with other words in the background. So but these predictions and the algorithms behind these predictions and the math that goes behind these predictions is so complex sometimes that even the creators of these things don't fully understand how the computers have come to the conclusions that they have, right? Because
It's
it's
like
so calculation.
probability at its
Yeah,
highest form, son.
it is. It is
Mhm,
exactly that. It's exactly
mhm.
that. Even though there's folks that have programmed these things and have developed them, once they unleash it or let it go, the kind of the point of it is that it's generating answers on its own, that it's using certain formulas and algorithms to generate answers. And after a while, it becomes so complex, it also becomes kind of difficult to explain, right? That's why sometimes, I don't know if people notice, but when you go to ChatGPT now, a lot of times what it does is when it gives a response, it also tries to give you a reference of where it may have gotten that response from. Because even a pre-trained model doesn't have all the information in real time all the time. So sometimes it's grabbing information from the web, especially if it's newer information than what it's been trained on, right? But the basic idea is that even to the most the smartest expert in the room, a lot of times they will admit that the AI responses and conclusions cannot exactly be explained in terms of how they've come to those conclusions, right? That's one aspect of it. And then there's the unpredictable aspect that's kind of it kind of parallels this and goes hand in hand with it, but it's very hard to kind of predict what's gonna happen with the AI, what response it's gonna have.
Mhm.
Um if it's going to hallucinate. The math behind this is so complicated that it's hard to gauge what you're going to get out of an AI system sometimes. So it becomes unpredictable how it's going to respond, how it's going to solve your problem is one of the problems here. Because let's say, and this goes in hand with something called an alignment problem, right? And I can explain the alignment problem this way. And we may have talked about this before. And if I have, and if I'm being redundant and you heard this before, I apologize. But I feel like these are important things, especially now that we kind of know that AI is not going anywhere and people are afraid in some instances. Some people are not. Some people are embracing it. Some people are using it in creative ways. But for those of us that are kind of concerned, like I don't know if I can alleviate your concern, but I kind of want to just spark people to go learn more, I guess. Another thing I wanted to touch on is something called the alignment problem, which I think most developers of AI are still working on this, right? So the alignment problem is that you can ask artificial intelligence for something to help you solve a certain problem, but what the issue is that you can't exactly explain your real intent in every way that you'd like to, right? And I'll use this as an example. All right, let's say I tell artificial intelligence to read my kids a story every night at 8 o'clock, right? No matter what. The AI agrees with this. This is the prime directive of the AI. This is one of the major commands that I've asked it to do, and it's programmed to do exactly what I asked it to do. Now, let's say I go on vacation, right? But I don't tell the AI, I have no way of letting the AI know we're going on vacation, but we're human beings. We need a vacation. We're going on vacation. All the AI knows is that it has a command and a direction to read my kids a story at 8 p.m. every night, no matter what, right? So now this robot goes out of its way to find me and my family. we no matter where we've gone on vacation, it has to find us, right? When somebody tries, when somebody tries to stop the robot, what's it gonna do? Who knows? Is the answer? Read my kids a bedtime story at 8 p.m. no matter what might sound like a simple request, right? But you can't account for every scenario. Like even telling a self-driving car, drive me home, might sound like a very simple request, but you got to consider the traffic. You got to consider that a kid on your block might drop his ball and it might roll into the street. He might run out there to go get it. You got to consider all the traffic rules, the traffic lights, the other cars on the road, the unpredictable behavior of drivers on the road. All that stuff has to be considered when you tell the car, get me home, right? So the alignment problem is one of those things where predictability becomes kind of iffy, right? For lack of better terms. Uncontrollable is another one, right? Like, so what do you do? How can you guarantee that something that is more intelligent than you is always going to be able to be controlled by you, right? There's no precedent in history where the thing that is exponentially more intelligent than the other thing is controlled by the less intelligent being, right? Like humans, arguably up until this point, are probably the most intelligent beings on this earth, at least as we know intelligence. There's a lot of probably definitions for intelligence.
The most intelligent sentient beings on this earth.
Yeah.
Say. Yeah.
But intelligence, as we would agree, as an average person might agree on what intelligence is, like this is arguable, but we might consider ourselves the most intelligent beings on the earth right now, right? But what do you do when you have something like artificial intelligence that's exponentially more intelligent than us already? The only analogy I could use there is like kind of the equivalent of using a calculator versus using your own mind to do complex math problems. Some of the complex math you just can't do in your head fast enough, and there's no way that you could ever beat a calculator in doing that math, right? I've read a couple of books on this, right? In some of these books, it talks about how there was kind of an agreement between the most intelligent people in the field of machine learning and artificial intelligence. And one of the agreements was not to release AI to the public until it could be completely controlled, until they understood like all the security concerns and controls. And that was kind of broken when OpenAI released ChatGPT, right? Like they released it with the purpose of training it more. And the idea was that the best way to train it is to let regular people play with it, right?
They used the public as beta testers.
Yeah, exactly. They
Mm-hmm.
use the public as testers. They use the public as trainers as well. So that's one area where this was kind of broken. Right? One of the rules that was kind of quietly agreed with the greatest minds in machine learning. Right? Like, don't release this until we can figure out whether or not it can be controlled. A machine can manipulate humans because we're kind of frail, we're very simple, and so we're complex in some ways, but we're simple in the sense that we're very visual, we're very easily pleased. And computers that know us well enough could potentially manipulate that fact. This AI, I don't know if you guys can see it, but AI, unexplainable, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and the author is Roman V. Yampolsky. Um, so yeah,
All
I
right.
don't want to, I don't want to take up the whole show with that, with with this,
I
but
think
yeah.
you've already done that.
My bad, man. My bad.
So
You can stop. You can
that's
stop me
Maze.
whenever you want. You
Well,
can
I mean,
jump
you was
in,
on the
man.
roll, bro. You was on the roll. So here's the deal, man. Y'all need to learn this AI, man. Cause May's gonna make sure that y'all learn this AI, whether y'all like it or not. Y'all gonna get this AI work. Y'all get this AI work. So pick up that book. AI, what's the name of it and the author again?
It's AI, unexplainable, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and it's by Roman V. Yampolsky.
There you go. Main's third entry into the Gen X Plus books. So mine, and my last and final one, 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch
Mm,
Albom.
that's one that I haven't read.
Yeah, this one actually has a cool made for TV movie too with what's her name? Angelina Jolie's father. What's the dude's name? The electric cowboy guy?
Oh,
Whatever his What's
is
Angelina
it?
Jolie's father's
Is it
name? John
William
Voight.
Hope?
John Voight.
John Voight. John
John
Voight. I
Voight.
don't know why I said
Yeah.
William Hope. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually Mitch Albom is also one of my favorite authors as well. First of all, he's famous for being a sports reporter. That's what he's
Mm,
known for. He's most known for. And then he wrote this book called Tuesdays with Maury, which he got famous for, and then that like really launched his other literary career. So
uh-huh.
5 People You Meet in Heaven is about a man named Eddie who's a basically he's the fix-it man at a Ruby Piers, like an amusement park. And he dies, saving a little girl's life.
Mm,
The whole story is how everyone is connected. There are no random acts. It's a book about sacrifice, forgiveness, love. And when he dies, he thinks like his life doesn't matter. He was a man who lived by himself. He was a widower, and to some people, he seemed pretty mean, and he was ornery. But he was very good at his job, and he was good at making sure all the rides are safe. And this one day, one of the rides went bad, and a little girl was going to get killed. I think it was a merry-go-round or a Ferris wheel, and he jumped and saved her and pushed her out the way, and he dies in the process. And while he's dead, he meets 5 people. These are the 5 people that you meet in heaven. One of the guys was a blue man from the circus. He was one of the circus performers, and his skin had turned blue from drinking one of those like snake oil salesman concoctions. And he finds out the reason why he's meeting this guy because this guy saved his life when he was a kid, and he
mm,
died in the process of saving Eddie's life. So the
mm.
whole book is this these 5 random, which you think are random people that he's meeting. He meets his old commander when he was in the military, when he was in World War II. He meets the woman who's the Pier, Ruby Pier is named after the young girl. He meets his wife who died. And then he meets a young girl that he accidentally killed when he was in the war. And the whole premise of the book is that we're all connected, like that whole 6 degrees of separation.
Sure.
There's no random acts and everybody meets for a reason.
Mm,
So either whether you know it or not, even that person that you randomly meet in the street can have an effect on your life. Like the first guy that he met, he had no idea who this guy was, and the guy swerved out of the way and got into a car accident, like had a heart attack, and swerved to save him as a young boy, else he would have killed him as a young boy.
mm,
So that's my last one. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. It's a great book, and he even made a part 2 of it
mhm,
too. The next 5 people that you meet in heaven, which is about the young girl's life that he actually saved when she passes, and the 5 people that she meets on her way to heaven. So it means everybody's life has a meaning, everybody's life is worth something, and nobody is unimportant in this world. And that's why I like this book. And he also made the TV made for TV movie is really good too. You know, sometimes these adaptations of books for TV movies, they're horrible, but this one was actually good. So that's my final
Who's the
entry.
author? Can you name the author
Mitch
again?
Albom,
Mitch Albom.
Mitchalbom. And the book
Gotcha.
came out in 2003. He makes a lot. He made Tuesday with Maury, One More Day about a baseball player who gets to spend one more day with his family.
Right.
He has a lot of books. He has some book called The Timekeeper. He's also one of my favorite fictional authors. So that's my final entry. 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. And that's all I got left for you, champ.
Yeah, that last one was it for me too, man. I'm sorry I went on for a long time. Like I feel like you had to rush through your last one, man. You could stop me at any time, you know that.
Nah, you good to go. You good to go. That's what the edit is for. But you was just on such a roll, B. I couldn't double dutch in on that one, man. I couldn't
I
double
feel
dutch in
you.
on that one. You was on a roll, boy. The quills was smoking, B. The AI quill. So look, I'm telling y'all, this is my man's life work. This is his life's work right now, yo. You know, you got to get everybody up to speed on this AI. Y'all need to learn it. Y'all need to know the pros and the cons of it. And ignorance isn't bliss when it comes to certain things.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
I absolutely 100% agree. Like I just want people to kind of tap in and learn a little something, learn what you can. I'm not saying I'm even an expert in AI. Like I'm an engineer. I'm in technology. I'm actually an architect in technology, but I'm not. I wouldn't consider myself an AI expert. But I just said like I kind of know enough to be dangerous, as they say.
No, he
But
knows enough to know enough.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what I know, and I'm still learning. I'm still on my journey, man. I'm humble enough to say that I'm still on a learning journey with this stuff. But I feel like I hear enough in the ether out there, so to speak, to know that people are not as informed as they should be, right? And I think that this is one of the more important things that's going on right now. It's something that's going to change our lives in the same way that the internet did.
And
So
the
that's
wheel.
why, and the wheel for that matter, right? And
Everything's a
fire.
version of the wheel, son. Fire, the wheel.
I put it right up there with the printing press and
Yo,
fire and the wheel.
it's all
Um,
relative. It's
you
all
know,
relative,
it,
you know?
it's the industrial revolution is here. Like we're in the 4th industrial revolution where it's a major shift in the way we do things, the way we communicate, the way we learn, the way we work, whether or not we work at this point. Stuff like that, right? Like all the ways it just affecting everything, the way we travel. It
It's
affects
the
the way we
inflation of
consume.
technology, so to speak.
Yeah, it's the way we consume media. Like you don't even know that you boy, or you do know, like the algorithm is controlling what you view on TV, what you view on social media, what you get advertised to you. You name it, man. Like, a lot of your decisions are kind of not even your decisions anymore. They're being influenced in a way that is kind of tricking your brain too, right? So it's something that I just want people to start paying attention to. So it's kind of infiltrating every aspect of life, and that's why I just find it extremely important that people learn as much as they can, and I think that the learning is going to be where some of the fear is alleviated, right? Or maybe not. I don't know, but like at least some understanding will help you with what might be some next steps you could take.
Yeah. I mean, before I learned to swim, I always looked at water as death.
Right.
But
That's a good analogy. I mean,
but
but
as
that's a
I,
good way to look at it.
like I can still die, I can still drown, but I got a better fighting chance.
That's exactly right. And that's a perfect way to put it. Give yourself a fighting chance at least. Like even if you're still afraid, even if you know that there's still the danger there, give yourself a fighting chance by learning as much as you can because it's extremely important.
Yeah. So
So
this concludes our latest episode of the Gen Expertise Show. Episode 53, we're on our way. Shout out to our day 53 now. our day ones, and everyone in between. And who I know is definitely going to go see this Transformers movie. As usual, and as always, shout out to our day one. I know he's going to be in that
Yeah,
theater
I think so too. If I had to bet on it,
Salute.
I would definitely bet on that one.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you know what else, man?
Since we are prolific.
That is right. Since AI isn't going anywhere, neither is Main and Rants. Since we are prolific, we will be back. Same Gen X time, same Gen X place. On your dials. Peace and power to the podcast.
Power to the podcast. Peace.